Hi, welcome to the channel. The World Eaters Codex should be the last of 9th edition, and if you don't want to watch long, multi-hour videos, I'll tell you everything you need to know in under 5 minutes. This is a pretty uncomplicated codex for 9th edition, and people should be happy. As expected, the army is heavily melee focused. This is not an army if you want to do any shooting, there's hardly any in the codex. 8-bound are really strong, it can be made objective secured. Angron is fantastic, not least he moves 16 inches and has 1,000,000 attacks. This codex is definitely pushing Angron and 8-bound, which makes sense as they want to sell them. There are marine and demon only builds. The more things that die, the more buffs the army gets, and as we've seen in recent codex trends, the secondaries aren't listed in the codex. There aren't a lot of different data sheets, stuff that World Eaters players might have had from Chaos Space Marines are now no longer there, mutilators have gone, there's no Chaos Lords, so it's difficult to build a Smash Captain or a Jump Pack unit, and there are no cultists. There's no points-based upgrades in the codex, and the rules seem to say that you can only take one Warlord Trait and one Relic. World Eaters Terminators though are better than Chaos Space Marine Terminators, particularly with them getting up to 7 attacks each. So looking at some army-wide rules, you can only have one Demon Prince in a detachment, but these are really good characters to buff up. If you're playing the Arcs of Omen season, then you can actually take 2 by paying a CP. Relentless Rage is their detachment ability, so this is when charging or being charged, you get +1 strength and +1 attack. That's going to be lovely. The cool thematic ability Blood Tithe is something that you're going to use a lot. You collect Blood Tithe points through the game, and there are 8 options to spend them to get buffs. You get points by killing things or your units being killed, and at the end of each phase, if a vehicle character or monster died, you get an additional point, or another additional point if a Titanic unit dies. It doesn't matter from which army things die, as Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows. You can purchase a blessing with your points, 1 per phase, and they then last for the whole game. Some great ones include exploding 6s to hit, +1 to hit, 6+ feel no pain, and +1 to charge. If you watch to the end, I'll tell you about the single best way to spend your Blood Tithe points. Also, if you like this sort of video, don't forget to give it a like. The Blood Surge ability. Berserkers get to move d6 inches forwards when they lose a model in shooting. This is an amazing amount of free movement and happens each time they get shot at, so it can be multiple times in one phase if a model is killed. And considering you need to shoot them anyway because you don't want them in melee because they're so strong, they're going to be in your grill much sooner. There are 2 sub-factions or ways of playing the World Eaters. There's a familiar way with Legionaries, and another way which can be seen as an army of renown called the Disciples of the Red Angels. In this there are restrictions like you have to take Angron as your warlord, you can only use Khorne Demons or take Land Raiders. The reason to play this is that your 8-bound can get objectives secured. For each way there are different Warlord Traits, Relics and Strats. Warlord Traits. Named characters have Warlord Traits, and some good examples include for Angron, Red Angel, anyone within 6 inches loses Obsec, or the Lord Invocator allows for himself and 2 units to make a pre-game move. There are 3 generic Warlord Traits, but these aren't available to the Disciples of the Red Angel. You've got extra Blood Tithe points each command phase, half damage incoming to your Warlord, or 6-inch Heroic Intervention. Demon Infusion. This is instead of an additional Warlord trait for Disciples of Red Angels. You can use this to upgrade one 8-bound unit with a Daemonic Infusion. Ones available include counting as 2 models on objective, 6s to wound inflict mortal wounds, and a 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. There are 6 relics in total, for 3 for each way of playing. For the standard World Eaters, the relics are not that good, but probably the best is Talisman of Rage. 1 core unit within 9 inches gets auto wounding 6s to hit in melee. There are 3 for the Army of Renown, and probably the best one is the Skull of Angron. Reroll wounds in melee against 1 nominated unit each turn. Stratagems. There are 16 available, 8 for each way of playing. For the main way of playing World Eaters, 6 are purely focused on melee. You've got Icon of Wrath for 1 CP, you rolled 3d6 and discard the lowest on the charge. Or Red Butchers for 2 CP, gives +1 damage to a unit, so for 8-bound that'll go up to 3 damage each. From the 8 for the Disciples of the Red Angel, there are 2 particularly good ones. Terrifying Assault for 1 CP, a charge unit can't overwatch and is then -1 to hit you in melee. And Furious Surge for 1 CP, you can move an 8-bound unit 9 inches. Now looking at a couple of new standout models, you've got Angron, 360 points. Such a cool model, T7, 2+ save, 4+ invuln, 18 wounds. It's hitting on 2s which doesn't degrade. And for me one of the key things is the Blood Tithe points, where if you spend 6 you can actually bring Angron back from the dead. He can return to 8 rooms and then can deep strike somewhere else on a turn of your choice. So even though he's coming back on his middle bracket, that's still 10 attacks and 12-inch move, this will get used every time. And the reason why you don't mind him dying and coming back is because he hits so hard, is where you can use a sweep attack and have 3 times the amount of hits. So on the charge, that's giving you 39 hits at strength 10, -3 AP and 1 damage. And considering he hits on 2s and can re-roll his own hits, that's going to go well. For his abilities, you can pick 1 of 3 to give out. He can stop units from falling back near him. He has an aura which can give other units +1 to attack, or an aura that gives reroll hits of 1 as well. And while he can pick himself, he can pick another unit to reroll all hits. A quick look at the 8-bound, 40 points, and are a great melee unit that get well buffed. Hitting on 3s, they've got a 3+ save, 5+ invuln, likely getting 7 attacks each and can deep strike in turn 1. And they also have a -1 leadership once they're in melee. The Exalted Eightbound, essentially a better 8-bound with a better power fist. 135 points for taking 3, 4+ invuln instead, they get more attacks, they're hitting on 2s, still have the deep strike, and they also have a Blood Fury aura. On a roll of 4+, you can stop a unit falling back. But I hope you like this short format. I have a whole playlist for loads of factions where I've done this similar 5-minute video, and don't forget to drop us a like if you thought it was any good, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!